So, at the current pace of how fast we are releasing videos, I realized one thing.
Oh, right, it's the weather report. I forgot. I almost forgot he does this. Well, today it's going to be sunny, maybe a couple clouds here and there. And we're going to have a high of 74 out here in Mondstadt. There is a low tide today, and there are not going to be any critters out there in the water, so you can get out there on the beach if you want to. Alright, I'm ready. Okay, I'm ready.
We're going without a script.
What?
I mean, making videos without a script is the dream of every YouTuber, right? But
Yeah.
lately, it just so happens to be that every time I blink, there is a new topic to talk about.
Oh my god.
I literally just finished Genshin. You can't do this to me again.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, they can. Because at this point, Hoyoverse really earned my trust.
That's the dream, isn't it? Making a video without a script. I can't imagine. I've seen Asmongold do it. Like, he'll sit there, he will turn on the camera, and this man will talk for 20 minutes without stopping, and he talks about the same thing in a logical way from beginning to end, and it doesn't even matter what kind of distracting shit is going on around him. This just blows my fucking mind every time. The last time I seen him do it, there was like a plane flying overhead, there was a wasp that attacked him, in the backyard there was two people. It looked like they were, well, they probably weren't burying a body, but it was sus. Whatever they were doing back there was very distracting and very sus. They were pointing at the ground and looked like they had a real big problem. And the whole time, he's just sitting there talking about the same thing in a logical way, in a linear way. And I could barely listen to it in a linear way because I'm worried thinking about what's going on in the backyard. I remember I even asked him, I was like, hey, how do you do it? How do you sit down and talk about one thing for 20 minutes without changing the subject? And he was like, well, that's just how I do it. Like it wasn't even a big deal. If I try to sit down and write a video without, like, basically I can do bullet points, right? We can do bullet points, and then we can edit that shit for when I go off topic. So I'm like, okay, guys, well, today, we are going to talk about Genshin Impact. Now, Genshin Impact is a game that I didn't appreciate very much before, but the game actually has some Gamba in it, and you can use the Gamba to get some sexy characters. Now, when I was a little kid, my mom used to take me down to the casino, and she would Gamba all the time. And I don't know if you ever seen them people down there at the casino, but they are just like, looks like they never even leave. There's people like 95 years old sitting there at the casino. Basically, my editors have to look back at it. Clip, 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 clip. Anyway, so about Genshin. I'm sorry. Let's just continue with the video.
So, why don't we talk about the best and I believe the most underappreciated part of Genshin. Now, the last time I talked about this game, I had only 30 hours in the game and I was making more of a first impression review. Currently, I am sitting at well over 600 hours. I have about one...
Wait, how can you check how long you played it? How can you check playtime? How? You can't. Okay. Well, then, I guess we just won't know then, will we? I can guess it. Okay. Okay. It's fine. Can check my days. Yeah, I remember he said he was just going to check it out really quick. He was just going to check out Genshin real fast.
100 hours streamed, and I definitely played at least 5 times that amount off stream. But unfortunately, there is no official way to track the numbers. And that is all in just the last 3 months or so. And yeah, in case you don't know, I somehow kinda created 2 audiences for me. There is my League audience on YouTube, but on Twitch, I actually have a totally separate segment which is my Genshin audience. And now I'm just trying to bleed the two sides into each other. So here we are. If we want to talk about why Genshin is a great live service game, let's first talk about what Genshin does well. Genshin is a very simple and easy game.
Are there a lot of League players that play Genshin? Because I feel like there's a lot of Final Fantasy players that play Genshin. But, I mean, how different are these two demographics, right? Like, there are. There. You were one, I'm one, me. Fair number of League players. Big overlap. I mean, there's a big weeb overlap too, right? So, wait, Genshin got me to stop seeing FF14 as a weeb game and try it. Did Genshin get you to stop seeing FF14 as a weeb game, or did you just embrace being a weeb? I mean, because I did. I say that in the most lovingly way possible, okay? Because I'm okay with it. I'm happier than I've ever been. Anyway.
The point of everything is really to just consume the story. You can look for challenges and you can try hard, but if you try hard, you just speed up the gameplay. That's kind of the reward. But I would argue that in general, Genshin is actually the pinnacle of casual gaming. You can log in, do your daily quests, spend your resources, and just log out in like 15 minutes and be happy. And if you don't do your dailies and you just don't want to play, then who cares? This is such a nice change of mindset from all the other live services. So already, somehow, Genshin is a step ahead with the fact that it is a great casual game. But the story is also really good. Now, I have to mention that while some of the latest stories that came out are some of the best narrative I have ever seen in any game, the early content definitely had some rough edges. Without spoiling anything for all...
First part of Inazuma was kind of rough. But it ended really well. And Sumeru... I was talking to my friend about this yesterday. Sumeru has some of the craziest shit going on that I've ever seen. Like, I don't think even Final Fantasy XIV had anything this crazy going on. Like, this mind-bending... like, I'm spending a lot of time after the stream and after us talking about it, thinking about destiny and fate and, like, the mysteries of the cosmos and stuff. Like, I'm always thinking about it. It's like forbidden knowledge. It's stuck in there. And it's controlling me now. But Sumeru, man, it is top tier writing. It is top tier.
The people who have never played Genshin. It's not that the story in the early patches would be bad.
Yeah.
It's just that the pacing was awful. There were times where you were doing taxes for 6 hours before you got to the strong point in the story. Now the strong point was really good.
We were doing taxes for 6 hours. When did that happen? Was that the first part of Inazuma?
But goddamn, sometimes the story can drag a lot. But thankfully they learned from their past mistakes, and these days the stories are simply really good. And there is a good reason why Hoyoverse is focusing on good story first. Of course, in any video game, gameplay is king, and I can easily say that Genshin's combat is one of the best combat systems I have ever played. So when you then slap a good story on top of it, suddenly you have a world that feels alive.
The combat is one of the things that... It's fantastic because it's easy to learn, but there is still a lot of complexity to it. The first day that you play Genshin Impact, you experience the elemental reaction system, it's pretty easy. It's like intuitive to figure out. You know, it makes sense that fire will melt frost, even though I remember my first day, I'm like, I forgot what fire does. Like, I remember that. But causing those interactions to happen. I remember, like, especially in the beginning, every time I caused a reaction, I got a dopamine from that. I got a little dopamine every time. So the combat itself is pretty addictive, and I feel like it's so important to have addictive combat that you can experience day one. Immediately get some kind of satisfaction out of combat right out the gate, because you don't want it to feel like a chore every time you need to go and fight something. You want to feel like, oh man, I can't wait to go fight it because it's gonna be fun to do, you know.
Over the years, you can see how it is developing, and suddenly, with a good story behind the characters, you also start connecting with the characters. And keeping you engaged in this kind of stuff is really good for gacha games, because the more you like certain characters, the more likely you are to pull for them.
That's what we were talking about the other day.
Everyone
That's what we were talking about the other day. Like, you can't have a gacha game where you want the players to spend money on characters unless you invest in good writing for characters, because the good writing makes people give a shit about them and makes them fall in love with the character. It makes them want to, like, it even happened to me with a character that I already met. Like, after the Kaeya quests, we had a quest late in the story where, like, you get some additional information about Kaeya. And after that, I was like, man, Kaeya's so cool. And suddenly, I'm like, I want to gear him up, and, like, I want to level him. These things absolutely go hand in hand. It's just shocking to me that I feel like I played so many games where it seemed like they did not make writing a priority. Like, it seemed like they didn't hire professional writing teams, or they just didn't, like, give the writers enough resources, or they just didn't seem like it was an integral part of the experience. But you just gotta
them. So, in order to keep everyone hooked on the ever-developing world, Genshin gets a story update every month. Every month there is a major patch that adds in new story quests for major characters. On top of that, you usually also get an Archon quest, which pushes the main story forward. But also, roughly every 3 to 4 months, there is also a new sub-region, which usually gives you a new chunk of land to explore.
Chat says it's 6 weeks. Chat says it's 1.5 months. So, story is the core of Genshin. Everything about Genshin is around its story. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. Yeah, okay, so chat says it's a month and a half.
But it also gives you new mechanics that help you explore that area. Again, I don't want to spoil much, but yes, nearly every region has a new way of exploration. And then, of course, roughly every year, there is a whole new region, which comes with a bunch of new stories, new exploration, stuff like that. Now, I've been leveling,
while I was leveling and exploring the regions that are in the game now, every once in a while I would come across a giant extra region for a zone, like a huge extra area for the zone, that I was told was added in patch content. So it seems like every now and then they add in huge extra parts of the map for you to explore. In fact, there's a lot of the Sumeru map that I haven't explored yet that I'd still like to do, and I assume there's going to be story connected to all that stuff, right? So it's really exciting. Patches are 40 days, but downtime is like 20 days. Average still, new story every 30 days. Oh, I see what you're saying. Cool. I mean, you gotta have they have the resources to do it, right? The game prints money, and so it's good to see the money go back into the game. So that way, every time there's a new content, you get a burst of speed, and there not being too much time in between the content updates. It means you don't lose too much momentum in between the bursts of speed. You can kind of keep the hype train rolling, more or less.
I'm explaining this formula may sound just fine. In reality, this formula for a live service game is so powerful that other games are now trying to copy it. For example, Diablo 4 was confirmed to also have monthly updated stories.
What?
Because with these kinds of updates, you can really turn your game into a live service with a growing world. Now, I don't know if Genshin was the first
didn't know
game
that.
that really tried to push for this style of quick story updates. Because previously, as far as I know, in other games you...
Wait, did Blizzard announce new story content to be posted for Diablo 4 every month? Can you even imagine that happening? Like seriously. Do you really think Blizzard Entertainment can post a new story content once a month for their game? There's no... That's like saying, okay, Zeppela's gonna start her streams exactly 9 o'clock in the morning every day. You know that's not gonna happen. I know that's not gonna happen. Like, let's get real, okay? You know it's not gonna fucking happen. That would be 9 o'clock on the spot, 9 a.m. You can, like, set an alarm to it. You know it's happening. And not muted. Yeah, Zeppel's gonna start a stream, not muted, too. That's the same as me. That's the same as Blizzard saying that they're gonna put a new update every month with a story in it. That's fucking crazy. I mean... I don't know. Maybe they'll prove me wrong. I feel like even if they did that right, people would be mad about it. I feel like even if they managed to do it, where they managed to put like 15th of the month, every single month, new story content for Diablo 4, WoW players would be like, hey, what the fuck? What the fuck is that? What's going on down there? WoW players are sitting out there for like fucking 8-9 months at a time sometimes, waiting. People get mad.
Usually had a bunch of big stories every expansion pack. But the quick...
Oh, Illidan though. What if... Oh my gosh. Okay, what if the next expansion is about Illidan? Again. Okay. I know we already had 2 expansions about Illidan, but like, okay, what if we have another expansion that's also about Illidan? Wouldn't that be such a good idea?
Short stories weren't really a thing. Needless to say, if you want to prove that it really works, just look at how other games...
Wait, did I miss something?
Back.
Sorry.
But the quick short stories weren't really a thing. Needless to say, if you want to prove that it really works, just look at how other games are trying to copy what Genshin does. I mean, I have a long history of covering the lore of League of Legends, which to...
And let me just say this too. There's no doubt in my mind that the devs of Blizzard Games really want to be able to do a content schedule like Genshin has. I have no doubt that if they had the resources to do so, they would absolutely do it. But what I've heard lately is that they're looking at the budget cuts and the staff layoffs, and they're thinking, well, like, what can we manage to still do? Like, they're literally having to cut plans that they had because people are, they can't keep people at the company who want to live in Irvine, California. And so it's just an issue of not putting the money back into the game, putting the money back into the pockets of the devs and giving them the time and resources that they need to make a good product. There's no secret formula to this. It's literally just paying the people and making sure that the money the game makes doesn't end up in Bobby's wallet. Or maybe not all of it. Fuck. It's not it's not rocket science here. So
to this day, I still believe is one of the most beautiful universes I have ever encountered.
What?
But we haven't seen a new story for this universe since October last year. Yeah, that's really...
Did he say what I thought?
Genshin does. I mean, I have a long history of covering the lore of League of Legends, which to this day I still believe is one of the most beautiful universes I have ever encountered. But we haven't seen a new story for this universe since October last year. Yeah, that's really the main reason why I'm kind of like exploring other games now.
Non-champion release story came out June 1, 2022. What's that like? Is that like a story character quest in Genshin? How does that work? Lore is really cool, not the game though. League has huge lore. League lore is really good, but the game isn't healthy. Every time I ask people if I should play League of Legends, they tell me no. Because basically, people will be super mean to me. And it's not a good idea. Never play League. Literally everyone says do not. Like, it's so... I think it's the only game that I know of where all the people I know who play it and who seem to like playing it because they keep playing it, when I ask them if I should play it too, they say no. And they beg me not to. I literally can't think of another game like that. That like someone's playing it often and then they tell me that I should definitely not play it though. You said, I don't think anyone enjoys playing League. All right. Because it is self-harm, apparently. He said that the story content that he really cares about, last one came out 5 months ago, but then there was some little story that came out in June. And so he said, well, that's why I'm having to explore other games and stuff right now. That's the situation that I mentioned at the start before the video began, and why the content updates are so important. Because it's all interconnected, man. This content creators need something to talk about that people care about, and people will care about it if it's new or somewhat recent. But if there's nothing for long stretches, it's just the interest fades, and you're better off.
And on the next bigger event, I just played an auto battler inside Genshin. They just casually made TFT and then let it go 2 weeks later. And apparently, I missed a lot of these events by not playing in the last 3 years. I was told they also made Prop Hunt, racing games, Flappy Birds, and God knows what. I have honestly...
So I haven't done any events yet, but I've heard about them. And I understand that there is actually lore. Like, sometimes there's huge lore drops that happen in the events. But once the event is gone, you can't ever play it again. This is probably one of my biggest complaints about Genshin Impact. I love the game, but honestly, it's completely unacceptable that you can't play the event that's already gone. It's complete bullshit. I mean, I've heard that there are some characters that were introduced in an event that, like, I don't even know who the fuck they are because the event hasn't come back. Like, Fischl? Who the fuck is that? Why does she act like that? What's going on? Who's this bird that she's got hanging around? I don't know. I'll never know that because the event's fucking gone. That's crazy. Am I supposed to just guess? Like, she's a princess and what? Like, I just think she's insane. I think she's insane because I don't know who the fuck she's talking about. Why would I? This is terrible. And, look, I get it. I get the FOMO, and I get they want people to log in and all that, you know. But at least maybe after a fucking year, let people go in and experience the old event. Maybe not even get the rewards, but just can I look at it? Can I, at the very least, just fucking look at it and read what happened, okay, as an observer? I don't think it's asking that much. So, this is something they need to fix, because I feel like I'm getting punished for not being able to go back in time and do events that happened before I even wanted to play. You're punishing new players with this shit. It's a mobile game. Zapla file size is a thing. Okay, so hear me out. A separate app for events that you can, that's like an archive, and then, or maybe like you download it on PC or some shit, and you can go into the archive and download whatever events you wanted and experience them in a virtual reality, like simulated thing. I don't know. They gotta figure that shit out. I don't know. Tag's been telling you to play Genshin for a year ago. Whose fault is it? Then it's Tag's fault because he didn't tell me about Tartaglia. So, well, I mean, that I didn't know about that. That was different.
Never seen this level of passion be put into a game. And it's a gacha game. They are supposed to be weird and shady. Not good. And funnily enough, I've seen that people who have been playing Genshin for a very long time got spoiled by how good their events are. Apparently, when the Auto Battler came out, people were like, yeah, it's fine. Alright, back to farming artifacts. Like, it seems like the veteran players got numb to how awesome it is to have these rotating game modes in your main game. Meanwhile, I come from League.
But the artifacts is Gamba too. The artifacts can also be fun. Like, I don't know if Necrit's been farming artifacts, but like, did he ever get a really good artifact? Like, the amount of dopium that I got from getting a really good artifact was a lot. He did. Mario Maker is coming back. Oh, what? How do you, what's that? Okay, let's continue.
Yes, the last time we got a game mode that wasn't a recycle of an old one was, I believe, 2 years ago. I know it's a bit unfair to compare League to Hoyoverse. And Riot is also currently struggling with people leaving after COVID took its toll. But you know what? Yeah, we can compare them. It seems like this is what happened to League for focusing on the competitive play for so long, while kinda ignoring their casual players who still make the majority of their players. And yeah, sometimes you need a little bit of a slap to pick yourself back up.
But aren't they making that MMO though? Right? Like, won't that fix that? Aren't they making that MMO? I was gonna say it's a MOBA. What does he expect? Of course, Genshin will have more updates. I mean, maybe Genshin has more updates because the game makes $6 billion every 6 months. I mean, it might be related to the fact that, I'm not even kidding, like the last time I checked, they're making $6 billion fucking dollars every 6 months. So League makes bank too. How much money does League make? How much money does League of Legends make? All right, so League of Legends generated, it was 2020. Okay, what about 2023? Active users, no. Revenue, 2022, 1.8 billion. Okay. It's a lot. That is a lot. But Genshin Impact, this is from 2022, averages $1 billion every 6 months. Yeah. It was actually 1 billion. But is that on which platform is that? This is on mobile only. Yeah, this is only on mobile. Okay. Well, anyways, it's what I will say is that once you get used to the content updates and how frequent they are in Genshin Impact, it is hard not to feel spoiled by that and wish that you had this kind of frequency of updates for most games. Being able to expect it, and you know that it's coming, it's reliable, it's gonna have something cool in it. This is huge. I mean, it's massive. So I understand.
Long, while kinda ignoring their casual players who still make the majority of their players. And yeah, sometimes you need a little bit of a slap to pick yourself back up. I wish League would have the same live service updates that Genshin has. I genuinely wish for that. Actually, super quickly, there is one more thing that I almost forgot to mention. Even though Genshin has little to no...
But if Genshin has taught us anything, it's that a wish always comes at a heavy price. So...
real endgame. They have the Spiral Abyss, which is essentially a roguelike for your max level characters where you just go and kill some bosses. But every 2 weeks they actually rotate all the enemies on all the endgame floors. And sometimes they introduce new enemies into this roguelike which you can't find anywhere else in the game. So even if you don't care about any of the minigames and you just wanna fight and you don't even care about the story, they still update that as well. So yeah, I just quickly wanted to mention that even without a real endgame, they are still updating the endgame. On top of that, Honkai Star Rail just released, and I'm kinda happy.
So with Abyss, Spiral Abyss, are there people that do only Spiral Abyss? Like, hey, veteran Genshin players in the chat. So once you're pretty much wrapped up with all the story and stuff, okay, but at a certain point, it might just become more casual. It just become a bit of a more casual thing. Where you're just running around exploring stuff and doing your dailies, and then you're waiting for, you know, the stories and the regions and things like that. Yep. It's not enough as in-game content or huffing the copium, but it's the nature of the beast in the end. It's the single-player RPG. Okay, so Tag says there is more in-game, but Spiral Abyss is the only whale in-game. Alright. Okay, I'm just curious. Just wondering. So beside... What else would you classify as in-game? Genshin in-game is pulling new characters and building them. Honestly, that is fun. My in-game is collecting husbandos. I feel like that's going to be my in-game too. I'm just waiting. And reading the lore and enjoying the story. Like reading books and things like that. I don't need to min-max or anything, I feel. Okay.
To be there with the initial
TCG,
wave of new players. Because after
really
learning what they can do, I definitely don't want to miss out on what Hoyoverse can do. I missed a lot by not playing Genshin.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to happen again. Some people laugh that I am currently on my gacha game story arc. So yeah. See you on the Astral Express, because there's a lot to talk about.
Nice. The thing is, gacha games have a bad rap for a good reason, okay? Like, and that's the thing that it's very difficult to explain to people, because most people are well aware of what the majority of gacha games are like, and they're dog shit. They're horrible. Like, this reputation didn't just pop out of thin air for no fucking reason. Came about for a good reason, and it's hard to even convince people that, but hey, you gotta believe me. This one's not like that. This one's really different. It's not like that, I promise. You gotta, why don't you believe me, please? Because I mean, that's why I didn't play it for years. Because I heard it was shitty. Like, I heard it was a gacha game, and I'm like, okay, well, gacha games means it's shit. Like, I don't want to deal with it. But it really is something special. And I also feel like I missed out by sitting on my high horse and not wanting to even give it a try for so long, because I had a lot of maybe deserved preconceived notions about gacha. But it has been such a breath of fresh air, and it surprised me in so many different ways. It just constantly has been surprising me with how little pressure I actually felt like. I never really felt like I needed to spend the money. But I did spend money because I wanted to. But I never felt like I really like, oh, if I don't do this, then I'm going to be having a much worse time. Like, I won't be able to play at all if I don't. I wanted to, and I could, so I did. I felt like it was fully my voluntary choice to do so. It's really the same deal with Honkai Star Rail. I kind of feel maybe even less. But with Honkai, I feel like I've just been insanely lucky in that game, so that's probably not fair. I've been insanely lucky on that account. So I don't know. But it's been... It has surprised me in the quality of the story, quality of the music, there's just the amount of fun that I've had along the way. Every time I log into Genshin, I have a good time. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. And lately, every time we have somebody come in the chat and ask about it, who's like, oh, I wanted to try it, but I'm worried about all spending money. There's always a ton of people here in the chat that say that they're free to play, or they pay like, I don't know, $5 to $10, $15 a month if they want to. But even then, it's just because they felt like it. And that's been nice. It's nice. What most people think about gacha games is Raid Shadow Legends. They think Genshin's popular because it's a meme. Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. Exactly. Yes. They think Genshin's popular because it's like a meme game and it's anime and it's weeb and there's anime waifus, blah, 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 blah. But man, they got no fucking idea. Sometimes I feel like I'm going crazy trying to explain this to people. Really. I feel like I'm going insane. Because it's like, you gotta try it. Just believe me, man. Try it out. The same thing with Honkai Star Rail, though. Honkai Star Rail writing is absolutely incredible. It's fantastic. The game is so good. The game is so good. And so now, like Necrit, I've come to expect a certain level of quality now. Like, I know that anything they produce now is going to be great. It's going to be top tier because they learn from their lessons. They learn lessons from their mistakes. They listen to player feedback. They put the money right back in the game. That's really what it's all about. That's it. Yeah. This time it's different. But I know... I know that I'm not the only person that has been through this, like trying to explain to your friend that, oh no, this mobile game is different. Like, I swear. God. It is though. You know, I used to say, every now and then, if you make YouTube videos, if you stream, you might get emails from games who are asking you to do a sponsored streams for their game or make little video promotions about their game and shit. And in the past, I don't know, 5-6 years, usually if someone wrote me about a mobile game and I saw that it was a mobile game, I would immediately say, no, I do not want to, I don't promote mobile games, sorry. No thanks. I don't promote mobile games. Do you realize the number of times that I wrote people back and said that? Yeah, I don't play mobile games on my stream. Okay, I don't do that, so you can just stop emailing me now, thank you. Yeah, I was a huge snob about it. So, yeah, now look at me. But no regrets. What made me try Genshin in the end? Tag had been sending me lots of screenshots of the game that were very pretty. And in general, I love like Alice in Wonderland type fantasy worlds with like huge flowers and mushrooms and stuff. And I started to see screenshots of Sumeru. And that got me really interested. And I was like, okay, I guess I reached a point with, there wasn't anything going on with Final Fantasy 14. I'm just waiting for the next content patch and just kind of chilling. And I didn't feel like I had anything else to do. So I was just bored. And I decided to give it a try.
So yeah.
But yeah, that's...
See you on the Astral Express, because there is a lot to talk about.
That was great. I enjoyed the video a lot, Necrit. Sorry for stealing all of your luck in Honkai Star Rail. But, I mean, I guess there's just only so much streamer luck to go around. I guess there's only a limited supply. But don't worry. Pretty soon I'll have all the characters in the game, so I won't need the streamer luck after that. Anyway, that's the video.